Okay. So what we learned between yesterday and today, which is pretty awesome, is so we'll cover first the history, then ChatGPT history. It was mainly around Keto Plateau. You break it pretty much by upping the carbs between 50 and 150 grams for 1 to 2 days. Usually every 5 to 7 days, that's when you want to break it. Helps you lose weight if you're at a caloric deficit. Helps you gain weight if you're at a caloric surplus. And we will get into that some more. Actually, especially, so the formula is you want to take in pretty much a lot of fat, moderate protein, and little carbs, and then when you break ketosis, you up the carbs and up the protein, downing the fats ideally, and all of these are by maybe 10 to 20 percentage points, the protein and fat difference, and that helps you break it. So if you're a vegan, you can do that with mushrooms. So if you add mushrooms and up something like tubers or legumes pressure cooked, you will up the carbs. Automatically you'll be upping the protein and downing the fats by that. So that's the ideal thing. And again, if you're eating a lot, so caloric surplus, you're going to be pretty much gaining weight, gaining muscle. If you're at a caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight, and this is the way to keep gaining or keep losing weight, which is pretty cool. Actually, we're going to jump around a little bit because just in case where the mind goes, we want to go there. So this is the Keto Plateau, and this is if you're trying to lose weight, but this right here is kind of what we said. So 1 to 3 days, 100 to 200 realistically it's really 1 to 2 days, and you want to keep it 50 to 150 usually. And that is mainly to kind of up or down the cortisol response, up the thyroid response, up metabolism, pretty much get things going again, as well as muscle protein synthesis. So all that is usually this is why you do it. So that's cool. Yeah, this is pretty neat. So protein you burn, fats is like at the upper end 3%, carbs you're burning 10%, and then protein up to 30% of that same calorie count to just get that into your body cells, etc., and use it. So that's why people with protein high intakes is used to burn more fat, at least short term. But ketogenic cycling is proven to be very strong for that, and probably the strongest that I've seen. Taking more iodine does not help you metabolize faster. It's only if you're iodine deficient, and actually it could backfire if you take too much. Chromium is a great glucose intake to cells. So if you have a lot of chromium isn't guaranteed on a vegan diet. So most seeds, nuts don't have as much. You have to eat mushrooms. So baker's yeast has, I think, 380% RDI. Nutritional yeast still has upper end. You're talking like, what is that, 60% RDI? Most of the mushrooms, I mean, they're pretty good compared to hemp seeds, which is that's 2 to 4% RDI. So, and most of the other seeds are even lower if you look online. Connections. So for ripening avocado, from all the videos also, you definitely want to put a paper bag, put everything in a paper bag, kind of seal it. And everything means bananas, apples, and potatoes also give off ethylene, but and then the actual avocados. And if you wrap it, that actually does work and ripen it fast. We tried it just now for 24 hours and went from pretty green to almost no green left on the avocado, like maybe 10% green left. So didn't make it softer though, not that much softer. It was still very hard. Don't put in a plastic bag because that will rot it. So yeah, let's see. So the body, another highlight is the body mostly doesn't actually really run well on ketones. All the red blood cells, 100% of them, need glucose. Your brain, 30 to 40%, needs glucose. Muscle, actually for protein synthesis, needs glucose. For like optimal protein synthesis. In the long-term ketosis, puts strain on all those systems, so that's why they recommend keto cycling at least every 5 to 14 days, preferably 5 to 7. Talked about that. Okay, we're going to jump up here in case you are doing taxes this time of year, and you have to get this IP pin, and it's recycled every year. Like a new one, you got to get a new one, and if you can't get it online, which is pretty easy online if you follow those steps, you can just go to a local tax center, or probably just go to a local tax center because this is probably more complicated, the form. But anyways, and Gundry does say to break out of ketosis every weekend. So if you're wondering how often would he do it, he does with a purple sweet potato. He even says it across several videos. Although here it says it's not online. It is online, and he says it, which is cool. Yep, and we covered everything up. Okay, and as far as so if you were entering ketosis, you want to enter ketosis or get back into ketosis, and just for longevity, but mainly for getting into ketosis, there are pretty much uncouplers, and Gundry talks about this, but the best ones while fasted are so you wake up with a cold shower, then later, not at the beginning of the day, have some warmth, so some heat, maybe from the sun, maybe at noon. It's really hot here, so that's a good way to do it. So you wake up with a cold bath, then get that hot sun bath, then go into preferably some low cardiovascular workout like walking. That definitely, all of those while in a fasted state are great, as well as so like if you do breathing, what I find is you relax everything, so progressive muscle relaxation, so I'm stiff and then I start relaxing everything. Breathe out as well, and keep breathing out like till you really don't have any air, and that is incredible at getting this hypoxic. And well, actually we can jump to that right now. Where is that hypoxia? Yeah, I mean, here is when you do that, you get if you're doing it like a normal person, you get a 5x bump, whereas if you fast, you get 2x. And this is just a hormone. What is hypoxia-inducing factor 1 alpha? It's a hormone that helps autophagy, and you really drop it when you do that kind of breathe out everything, which is great. If you keep breathing out, you probably get 6, 7, 8x, but that means you're running out of air, and it doesn't feel good. So this is the best way to do it, which is what we said. Breath hold while you're breathing out, by the way, so you exhale and then you keep exhaling. And Huberman talks about that in one of his videos. Wonders. Also, another thing is, if you want, you ferment pomegranate and berries, and you ferment soy, or super ferment wheat germ because of the lectins. But that's how you get these crazy other spermidine and urolithin A in you. Because if you, get tannins and turn into urolithin A based on the microbes. Back in the day, there was rotting fruit. People ate it. That rotting fruit may have included any of these. And what ended up happening is there is a, I think it's Gordonbacter. So usually that's found in the gut. There was poop on the ground because people pooped on the ground, there was cross-contamination onto berries or pomegranates. These guys started eating that and fermenting it to produce urolithin A, and people ate that. Our ancestors ate that, and they would now get the bacteria, because everyone wants the probiotic. I looked on Amazon. There's, at least from what I saw, nothing to get the probiotics, which are this Gordonobacter urolithin production, and then there's after Dr. Pamela, and there's after Dr. Gordon, but they don't exist in probiotics. So if you want to get it, the best bet is probably fermented pomegranates, preferably wild pomegranates would be my guess, to at least get some. And you don't need those two. There's probably a whole host of organisms there that can be conducive. That would be my best bet at the moment. And then for spermidine, and everyone's talking about chicken liver, chicken skin. Prefer plant-based for both health and ethical long-term reasons. Here, you get wheat germ super fermented, so you take away the lectins, and you're looking at, I mean, that's crazy, as well as natto or tempeh. I mean, look at that, right? And if not, nuts and seeds have them, and you were mostly, or even broccoli, you were mostly going around getting nuts and seeds and greens as our ancestors. And here, no surprise, you also have nuts and seeds. Again, lower amounts, so you're going to have to eat a lot. But anyways, which is, we're going to get to nuts and seeds, so why those are so critical later. But let's see, fermented pomegranate. So those are crazy. And all the polyphenols Gundry talks about, like Thomas DeLauer talks about olive leaf. Any polyphenols are great, are fantastic. Okay, so that was that. And yeah, so the best to, especially if you have like digestive issues, buy greens, like one of each kind. Like I buy 18 different types of greens, just one of each kind from Whole Foods. Fresh, organic. Order them, pressure steam them. So put 2 cups of water in the Instant Pot, pressure steam for 0. Most of the vegetables come out great and mushy, so you won't have trouble with fibers. These don't work too well. We looked up canned. There's like only carrots, beets, I think some mushrooms. There's not that many that aren't on Gundry's yes list. And although they are pressure cooked, again, wouldn't, and these don't cut it. So, and this is equivalent to canned, by the way, just in case. So this is pretty cool. This is so building muscle in ketosis is totally possible. Literally all you have to do, the best way is going higher in calories with more seeds, nuts, seaweed, probably lentils and grains in that order, and lentils and grains you have to pressure cook. I also pressure cook the nuts and seeds and seaweeds just in case. Pressure steaming them after soaking is probably what's best. But yeah, we'll bring in kind of why, which is this where it's super cool. So like you have to still do resistance. Seeds and nuts will take care of all these. Hemp seeds have like 10 grams per 3 tablespoons, and people shove like a cup per meal. You know, as long as you have enough fiber or greens, glucose goddess, early on, a bunch of greens, you can put a lot of fats in, and you'll have, the bowel movements are amazing. Your digestive discomfort is minimal. So, and that will get you there. A lot of seeds, a lot of nuts will get you some crazy protein numbers. And you will be in a caloric, and it usually kind of lines up. So currently, for instance, I'm at a caloric slight deficit. So I'm at 1600, around 1600, and I'm at 1.8 to 1 gram per kilogram per day. As you get into that caloric surplus, you will enter this zone automatically, as long as seeds and nuts are abundant. So, which is kind of like nature, like yelling, yes, that's what I wanted you to do. So we'll lump, and again, you'll probably be closer to this if you're really adding, and the change is not that significant because most show it's 10 to 30% lower when you're on ketosis, so it still is worth getting on ketosis, eating a lot. It's not optimal, it's not high carb, but it's still definitely worth, especially if you're staying on ketosis for therapeutic reasons. And leucine, you will be at around 1.5 grams. We'll cover that soon. And you'll probably be at 3 feedings in a 6-hour window. Creatine, you will get to how you and your body are going to optimize that. Because you won't take it from animal sources. This is assuming you're not supplementing, because supplements, they could destroy your gut, even though super high, like amazing ones from the highest brands. So really, out of all of these, you're already doing most of these except by eating seeds and nuts, and we'll talk about why right now. We'll talk about that, yeah. So if you get 30 grams of hemp seeds, which is 3 tablespoons, it's not that bad, you get 70 grams, along with maybe something like flax seeds. You might get another you might approach 1.5 grams. If you do that, you're already at 160% of max MPS. Okay, so that's pretty good. Usually it plateaus when you get around 2.53. As a vegan, you're not going to get that. You're going to build slower, but again, you're not intaking animal protein, animal saturated fats, which will really cut your health span. So this is great. This is great, right? It's a steady rise, and really, if you're pushing it and really bulking and stuff, you can get pretty close to the top of that sigmoid. So that is like pretty awesome in terms of getting both the longevity benefits and the muscle benefits. And then you also want creatine. To optimize creatine, you need arginine, glycine, you need that SAMe methyl donor. Okay, to do that, so this is a spreadsheet, it's like nutrition data. It has crazy, like, okay, yeah, just to show you, like, this is everything in nutrition. I believe it's data or facts, nutrition facts, which is awesome online database. They have everything, even the breakdown of like which amino acids, like what type of sugars did you see that, which B vitamins, which amino acids. It's freaking crazy. But anyways, if you go to our this is a breakdown of, so you can see here you have your food group. So look down here, row 93 to 97. So this is 5 rows, this is 5 rows in order. Okay, so if you remember that order, look at arginine, nuts and seeds going crazy. Look at glycine, again, nuts and seeds going crazy. This is per 100 grams. Yes, there's going to be more protein in nuts and seeds, so you have to factor that in, as well as digestibility, like the PCDAAS score. But all things considered, it's like we were, again, running around eating greens, eating nuts and seeds. That's mainly it. And then lentils is second place, right? And that's why if you look at a lot of these, even arginine, for nuts and seeds, methionine, which is necessary for just mTOR, it's pretty up there. And then you can see here, lentils is pretty good. It's in second place, or on the key ones, right? Again, kind of nature screaming, do this, instead of something like dairy, which is crazy in methionine. But again, methionine promotes cancer and mTOR unchecked. So yeah, it's good to vary, because grains also have a large disproportionate, but for leucine, which triggers mTOR. However, the key takeaway is nuts and seeds to begin with, then kind of pressure cook the lentils or legumes. And then so that plus resistance training. And if you're wondering how to train resistance wise and not get hurt, if you're doing it fasting, start slower with a lot of warm up and end earlier. Okay, so not to failure, like 2 to 3 reps before failure, not full range of motion, so you don't want to lock, and you also want to do slow eccentrics. If you do that in a well slept and not fasting state, your chance of injury is very low, and you go slow. You want to be at least 2 to 3 seconds per rep. I know Jeff Nipper does this kind of analysis on how long, and he says 1 to 8 seconds. You want to be at least 3 seconds, and that along with those others. And you want to kind of be inwards facing, so inwards straight on every joint, if that makes sense. So don't be overextended, like your arms hanging way out, your back, don't be like arched. So straight inwards, kind of compressed tight. That's the best way, because what that does is these right here, you're doing it slow. You don't have poor joint position because you're kind of compressed inline, things like that. You're doing slow eccentric loading. I think here we talk about, yeah, you're managing those. And you're not doing like crazy range, which is covered above, I believe. But yeah, that's how you prevent, and then you can gain muscle on ketosis, which is fantastic. And you know how to cycle in and out of ketosis. And what's left? Let's see. Oh yeah, if you're doing taxes again, you don't actually have to file, but if you have children, you have to file if you're over these. If you're married, it's highly convenient to file jointly, because, and you can't, like, they say like the law is there so that everybody married filing has to file pretty much. If you're doing it separately, they'll get you with this, so that everybody is on the same level, which is good. Yeah, this is why you want to file anyways, especially if you have kids. You can get up to 8,000. So if you don't make enough, the government will help you. Yeah. And head of household is actually like if you're an unmarried parent who's paying over 50% of the house for a dependent, that you have to qualify for that. So it's not like most income or anything like that. And you will see parentheses because of software compliance issues and accounting compliance issues for negative numbers on tax returns. I think that covers everything. Awesome. So I looked through everything in history, and there was nothing there that we didn't talk about. So I hope this helps you out a lot. Bye.